Matt Eagar, founder of the hubsa.co.za. Welcome to the Red Zone.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Now, Matt, as a starting point, can you just give us a little bit of background into what the Hub actually is, where it all started out?
Sure. The Hub is an online community for cyclists in South Africa. And we started out in 2004 as really just an online discussion forum where cyclists could come and share news, opinions, views, ask for help and share their knowledge. And at that stage, I was just finishing high school, always been a very keen, passionate cyclist and also a bit of a geek. So I was experimenting with web technologies and thought, why not combine that with my passion cycling and build a cycling-focused website. So that's pretty much where it all began.
You basically started out as a one-man band, though, and generating content could have been quite a challenge. What's the story there?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I realized very early on, that my initial aim was to create a portal with editorial content and content that I had created. And in creating that over a period of weeks and probably even months, to get to a point where I was happy with something, I realized that there's such a burden of creating content and creating content continually to keep the site fresh. And in researching web technologies, I came across many online discussion forums and even message boards, I think, as they were called back then, where the users contribute content, so your content is pretty much crowdsourced. Suddenly the idea struck me, why not do this for the site where you can rely on people to contribute content and you don't have the burden to continually update and make sure that it is fresh and useful on a continual basis.
But over and above fresh and useful content, there still has to be a way that you would monetize the site. Where did you start and how has this developed?
Yeah, that was an aim from the beginning. Admittedly, early on, the aim, I think, was a bit, for a bit of pocket money and for some cash while I was going through varsity. But the focus was to monetize the site through advertising. So banners alongside the content that was generated. And initially, it was a case of sort of cold calls and emails to people within the cycling industry, introducing myself, introducing the sites, and eventually getting a couple to bite. And from there, it sort of slowly trickled in. And I think as people see other people advertising, suddenly you get the ball rolling.
You've also recently joined sites with one of the Red Zone's very good friends, Habari Media. What have you set them out to do and how are they going to lead the innovation of the site forward?
Well, I mean, as a small independent and a niche publisher, it's quite difficult to reach the bigger brands that we'd ideally like to be advertising on the site. Obviously, their spend goes to some of the bigger online publications, and without those crucial industry and agency relationships, it's quite difficult, I think, to get in their conversation and on in a part of their ad spend. So Bari will help us bridge that gap and also take a lot of that sales burden and all the associated operations around that off our hands. So on that level, it'll allow me more bandwidth to focus on the development of the site. But also on the advertising side, Habari obviously bring a lot of wealth of experience across their resources. And from an advertising innovation point of view, I think that'll also help us innovate in terms of what we're offering clients and then the sort of advertising opportunities we're putting out there.
And I understand up until now you've just been relying basically on word of mouth marketing, is that correct?
Yes, I mean, in the very early days, I think I've probably printed out a couple of hundred flyers and dropped them on windscreens at a cycling race, but that was just in Cape Town, and it was really word of mouth all the way. And I mean, even up until probably a couple of months ago, there was very little to no money spent on marketing, and it was all word of mouth.
Now, you mentioned something called Effective Measure, where you've got 14th sports site and 69th overall site. Can you flesh this out a little bit more? Sure.
So Effective Measure is a company, an independent company, which measure the statistics and demographics across all of the top online publishers or the websites within South Africa. And what they do is they produce a ranked list based on a number of different metrics, and the standard is based on your unique visitors, your unique monthly visitors within South Africa. And based on that, for August this year, we ranked 69th in South Africa overall. And within the sports category, competing against the soccer and rugby and cricket giants, we're 14th and the first cycling site, which for us is a great achievement.
Well, you have an average of 3.8 million page views a month. So obviously you must be doing something right. What do you think it is?
I think it comes down to the content, and the most part of our content is user generated. So for us, it's about creating an environment which facilitates the user's conversation, and it is engaging. It keeps them hooked in and offers them opportunities to consume the content across the site and keeps them engaged. So it's just about focusing on what are their needs. I mean, in an example on the site, it used to be just a forum, as I mentioned, and over the years we've built it out. And one of the areas that became apparent that was a big need for the users was classifieds. So buying and selling new, used, second-hand bikes and equipment. And that was happening just within a forum, and we're getting a lot of feedback from users saying, we'd love to be able to search in this way or to filter the lists. So it was very obvious that this needed a dedicated home on the site, somewhere that was built for purpose where users could come. And in early 2011, we launched a dedicated classifieds platform on the site, and since then that section of the site has boomed and helped us to reach those sort of numbers. So it's, I think, just about listening to what your clients, your customers, your users are wanting. What are they asking for? Filtering out what you can and can't do, and going ahead and building what you can build to meet those needs and to meet those requests.
Well, the site's obviously working. Are there any plans to move your content onto a mobile platform?
Definitely. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to most in the industry that mobile is the future in a lot of ways. We've already got a mobile version of the website, but it's limited from a functionality point of view. So definitely the aim to develop more native apps for iOS and Android and other platforms, on your mobile phone, but also on tablets. So yeah, really to beef up on that, to make sure that we don't get left behind as people start moving more towards mobile.
Well, good luck and thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Sabrina.